Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor Humby and today I'll be teaching you how to paint a sunrise versus sunset diamond night sky. So when you're using watercolor paints, you are going to put it in your palette and then wet your brush. Well, this is how I do it anyway. Wet my brush depending on how dark I want the color or how intense I want the color is how much water I want on my brush. So if I want it super dark, I don't add as much water, but if I want a super light color, I add a lot of water to my brush. Oh, and before we get started on this painting, I get this question quite a lot. I am originally from New Zealand, but I live in America, and I've lived in America for about coming up on 4 years now, I believe. So if you think that my accent is weird or you can't quite place me in the world, that is why. My accent is messed up. I'm planning to go back to New Zealand soon, and hopefully I'll regain a little bit of my Kiwi accent back. But for now, this is what I am working with, and I hope it doesn't confuse you. But anyway, let's just jump straight into this painting. Now that we have the diamond laid out on the paper, completely outlined by the Scotch masking tape, I'm gonna go ahead and start painting in the sunrise on the top and the sunset on the bottom. I start out with some yellow, and then I add a little bit of the blue to kind of blend up into the kind of remnants or remains of the night sky towards the top of the diamond. Once I have that blend going on, I'm gonna go ahead and towards the top of the diamond add a darker hue of blue and a little bit of purple to make it just that little bit darker towards the top of the sky. So it's more like a night sky. Words. Okay. So once we have the top half of the diamond completed with the sunrise, we're gonna go ahead and start the bottom half with the sunset. So for the sunset, I again start out with yellow, but this time I blend out into some oranges and some reds, and then finally some purples and blacks towards the bottom of the diamond shape. This is a step that I like to do in a lot of my sunsets. While the watercolor paint is still wet, I grab some white acrylic ink, Liquitex branded, and I just apply a little bit of that to my paintbrush and then dab it in kind of like a light line shape to the middle of the page. This will be the Milky Way, and while the watercolor is still wet, that Liquitex acrylic ink kind of bleeds out and blends by itself. And then I go in with a little water on my brush and I blend that out just a little bit more to look more natural. So once the top half and the bottom half are completed and they are completely dry, do not do this while the watercolor paper is still wet. I go ahead and do probably my favorite thing of all my galaxy night sky paintings, which is apply the stars. So to make the stars in all my paintings, I use, again, white Liquitex acrylic ink and an old toothbrush. What I do is I take some of that white Liquitex acrylic ink and I put it in my palette, and then using a old toothbrush, I kind of dip the bristles into the Liquitex acrylic ink, and then holding the toothbrush above the paper with the bristles kind of angled towards me, I then flick the bristles, which in turn flicks on little specks of acrylic ink, which create the stars. Now, in terms of this painting, with the bottom half of the sunset, I want to make that Milky Way look a little more realistic and a little more intense, so I kind of, using the brush, get a little closer to that white area that I created when I was originally painting while the watercolor paper was still wet with the acrylic ink, and then kind of spray some thicker stars into that area, just so the Milky Way looks like it's dense with stars. So once we have these stars on the paper, we are going to go ahead and draw in some trees. To do this, I first of all take off the Scotch masking tape around the diamond shape, because we don't need that anymore because we have the crisp lines already there. And plus, when we go ahead and draw in some trees, we're going to have them stick out of the lines a little bit to give it a kind of a cool effect, in my opinion. The first thing I do is I grab some black acrylic ink, put it in my palette, and using a fan brush, I kind of dip my fan brush into that acrylic ink and draw on some lines, which will be the trunks of the trees. In this piece, I did the lines on the top first, and then kind of mirrored those exact same lines on the bottom half of the painting to kind of give it a mirror-like effect, like it's reflecting, like the sunrise is reflecting into the sunset, if that makes sense. And then once I have those lines for the tree trunks in, I go ahead and apply a little bit of black acrylic ink to the edge of my fan brush and kind of dab in the trees, if that makes sense. If you want a more intense tutorial on how I create my trees, I do have a video showing a close-up look of that. But essentially, you just add a little bit of black ink onto your fan brush and just kind of dab it to create all of the leaves and branches of the trees. So once you have all your trees painted on and completed, that is it. That is the finished painting and you are done. I don't know if you guys tried this out at home, but I would love if you guys did. And if you do, please send me photos. It really does make my day seeing you guys recreate my paintings. But I hope you guys love this tutorial. I hope it helps you guys out a lot and answered some of your questions. Please do make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are interested in seeing more art tutorials. I've been kind of busy lately, so I haven't been posting as regularly, but I am moving back to a regular schedule of once per week for a in-depth tutorial like this one. Plus I might throw in some kind of time-lapse-esque videos here and there. So yeah, make sure to like this video, comment if you have any questions, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. But until next time, keep painting, keep being creative, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.